The sizzling sausage. Studs on cement. Sport in the crisp wintry air. When the drawbridge goes up, see the absolute state of it. You're with Pez and Higgos, it's the circus.
Queensland do the most predictable thing by going against every single prediction and winning Game 2 of State of Origin in Perth. Turns out they could do it in a cold, wet night in Burswood. For New South Wales, who's to blame? Is it Klein? Is it Gus? Is it the goal kicking? Is it Aaron Woods? Is it Geelong or is it Penn State? I guess we'll find out when Geelong attempt to white out their home ground for Danger's 350th, something Bailey Smith might do if they win the comp. At the very least, someone might end up at Warwick Kappa's brothel. Just probably not the catering staff. The FIFA Club World Cup is going on for some reason, and Bayern Munich have already put 10 past some clubbies. Juventus, meanwhile, are in the Oval Office for some reason, and the Premier League fixtures have finally been announced. Finally, some football, Pezza. We're on the verge of Game 6 of the NBA Finals. The Lakers are being sold, and Caitlin Clark is still being assaulted on the court. There's also the US Open in golf, more pole vaulting, and world records, boys actually, the What's Getting You hotline, and everything else in between. This episode is brought to you by Swyftx. Kick off your crypto journey with Swyftx. Join Swyftx and get $20 in Bitcoin for new customers only by using the link in the show notes of this episode. Pezza, how's the jet lag going, me brother?
Mate, I'm great. I'm great. It's great to be back in Australia, in Melbourne, after delivering a week of what I'm describing as cricketing comeuppance porn. Cricketing comeuppance porn. A lot of views for TGC in the last week, generally because we'd been ugly, aggressive, arrogant Australians. And people online, they like to throw that back in your face if things don't go your way. So comeuppance porn was being delivered, but now we're back talking about the things that Australians really care about, the things that get them hot at this time of year, right? So finally we're back where we belong.
That's exactly right. And we get to talk about the sports that were distracting us from the thing that we were being arrogant about.
Exactly.
So when you think about it, did that thing actually ever happen?
I regarded the cricket as a distraction from the real thing.
Right.
I go the other way.
But no one was distracted because no one watched it.
Mate, I was sitting at Lord's, the iPad there, just straight at AFL 360.
They're going to do a whiteout.
We'll come to that. Let's hear from Australians and what they've thought about the week.
Queensland! Oh, fuck me. Hey, Sharon. Any danger of shutting the fuck up for the next game, thanks? Cheers. The rest of New South Wales. The word grub. That's it. Just talk about that word for an hour, and that'll do me, boys.
New South Wales, shit the bed again. I thought we were good in Perth. New South Wales, shit the bed again. Blue eyes, stop poking people's eyes out. Billy did all the talking. Why isn't Laurie walking? Low Max, can you kick a fucking goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, babe. I love this one.
I got to sit behind a South African guy and watch him write a LinkedIn post for an hour and a half about how we need more workers like Temba Bavuma who apply themselves in the workplace. But I'm really glad you boys got to meet the schooner scorer.
Do you cunts know how fucking hard it is to unsubscribe from Amazon Prime?
No, not really.
Chuck,
No. Best in the business.
what the fuck happened to Preston? The Preston Lions are shit. Up South Melbourne.
Any danger of just any of my fucking teams winning? Fuck me.
Yep. Swings and roundabouts, the old sporting fixtures.
It does always feel like your team's not winning though, really. It's a rarity when they are, you know? Yeah, look at like great coaches over the journey, as Simon O'Donnell put it.
Yeah.
Speaking about Messi and Scott Pendlebury.
Some people call it a life, others a journey.
Really good coaches, still, 55-45, you're taking it. You're like, what a wonderful career they've had. So I guess as a fan, you don't die, you go to heaven, ask God for some stats. How'd my teams go? I don't know where you think you're at, but like I don't. It's less than. I think I'm like on the losing side of the ledger. All teams aggregated.
Yeah, I mean you just have to be. So I think over the course of the journey, end of the journey, you finish the journey
Across the journey?
up there, pearly gates. There's Peter. He says, "Call me Saint." All right,
Yeah.
all right, Saint. what are the odd numbers there? And then he'll say, well, Bradman is statistically one of the most successful athletes in the history of sport, any sport, right? He's so much better than the second best ever, right?
Right.
And he failed more often than not.
Yeah. And also played Farmers League. He was playing Farmers League.
And we know his feelings about.
Well, I know that because the Indians write that on
Catholics.
YouTube. But Bradman was Farmers League. He had zero ball knowledge. We move. The game is a game. Sachin.
Yeah.
I don't know who these people are. There's a football show.
Bradman gets bowled on his final ball. Study needs to be the fourth needs to be studied. Fuck, my brain's not working.
Yeah.
God damn it. Anyway, let's talk about Origin.
Yeah.
Just for 2 to 3 minutes. So Queensland win 26-24. I've seen that our friend Muzz, the chairman of our Patreon chat, has highlighted how the West Australian reported that. It's just a couple of East Coasters came over here, did something, and they fucked off.
Yeah.
It was a 10-2 penalty count, Pez. It was 8-0 at half time. In the penalties, was it the lack of completions? Was it the penalty count? Was it 26 unanswered points in the first half to Queensland? Is goal kicking to blame? Is it Aaron Woods? Did Queensland actually just play well? What are the answers?
Oh, well, look, first things first, he goes, I thought it was a magical night for the code.
Vegas, Perth.
It was. No, and let me explain why. Because with the inception of the Perth Bears, I thought it was really important that League put its authentic self forward last night, and that's exactly what it did when the game needed it most. Because this game was on the back foot ahead of the fixture commencing. So Michael Chamas, 9 papers he wrote. So this was the day of the game. The West Australian, so the West Australian is the Kerry Stokes owns newspaper, right? You got to understand this Origin fixture happens in the context. You think Vlandis doesn't know the Perth Bears are coming in when they give Perth this fixture? He goes, and everybody, of course he fucking knows.
And what's a newspaper?
Okay? Well, that's now, I know the answer to that less and less, but the West Australian, Kerry Stokes owned, relegated its State of Origin coverage to the last page of its sports section and chose, this is ahead of the game, and chose to mock the Origin concept on the front page on game day, despite the match at the 60,000 seat Optus Stadium being a sellout. The only article about the Origin game was alongside the escort service advertisements.
A newspaper. I understand now.
Yeah, that's right.
That did a lot of damage for me in year 9.
Damage. Now, that's the context of this game, right? Heading into it.
Got it.
Right? So, this is a magical night for the code. We know when it comes to stories, they say there's only like 7 basic plots in life.
Instagram stories.
Plots being, overcoming the monster, rags to riches, the voyage, the quest,
got it,
return, etc.
Journeys.
Okay, so it's journeys, across the journey, Simon O'Donnell, Messi, Pendlebury. Now, while there's only 7 plots in life, there's only one in Origin. There's only one basic plot in Origin. And you know what that plot is? The Queensland ambush. Here goes. So the code on the back foot, one plot and one plot only to get the code going.
Got it.
And it's the Queensland ambush.
Okay.
Now part of what makes that plot so compelling, here goes, the Queensland ambush, is that each time New South Wales fails to realise that the ambush is on,
right,
for some reason, over the course of, across the journey of State of Origin, New South Wales somehow fails to realise that the ambush is on. And we see it time and again. When the chips are down in Queensland, it's the Cockroach Superstars against the Cane Toad also Rans.
Got it.
Queensland devises plans to stage an ambush, right? And you've got corporate memory. You've got a thing called corporate memory, organisational memory, the accumulated body of data, information, experience. Why and how do New South Wales fail every time to realise that the ambush is on? I mean, Laurie Daly's coach, for God's sake. He's been there across the journey. He didn't know the ambush was on. Gus knew it was on. Gus called it on comms. Now,
another good narrative is in rugby league was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Finger, when John Hopper-Whitey was sticking his finger in asses.
That was.
Which was a touching tribute to a wonderful movie.
That was.
Of a similar name.
Franchise.
So there can be 2 narratives in rugby league.
Look, speaking of corporate matters, I'd like to congratulate the NRL and its administration on its support of the ambush last night.
Yeah.
If you look at the NRL strategic objective, it is to make rugby league the greatest game of all. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, there was a lot of conversation about the refereeing last night, and I think it's a disgrace. I think to mention Ashley Klein's performance and his team is a disgrace. Queensland won fair and square. Nevertheless, I thought some of the refereeing in the first 30 minutes of the game, and that's all it takes, was a wonderful contribution to the NRL strategic objective to make rugby league the greatest game of all. Now, let me ask you this. He goes, had Ashley Klein put the whistle away for the first 30 minutes of the game, as is normally the case in State of Origin, had he put it away for the first 30 minutes of the game, had he allowed both teams to go at it, had New South Wales taken a decisive advantage into the break, would that be making rugby league the greatest game of all? The answer is simply no.
I don't think so.
Ashley Klein did last night what he had to do for himself, for the NRL, for the code in Perth, because as it stands, it's only being advertised alongside escort services. Rugby league, Perth, the game, needed a game 3 last night.
Yep.
And I think most people contributed to that.
Nobody in the game needs New South Wales to have a victory lap at their home ground in a dead rubber.
That's what he said.
Speaking of escorts and brothels and what's happened on the floors of those being dead rubbers.
Yeah. If you want to understand the potency of Queensland's pressure in defence in those first 30 minutes, the random set restarts, the bizarre call reversals, maybe take a look at that. And to tie a little bow around it, the media chorus, the media ensemble the spin that happens in the first couple of hours after the game, they are all in unison saying New South Wales were ill-disciplined.
Yeah.
It was ill-discipline from New South Wales.
Lack of discipline.
Lack of discipline. I thought Munster led really well from the front, and I thought the way Billy Slater used his public comments ahead of the game was actually a masterstroke. And we go into Sydney 1-1. I thought...
Beautiful. I'll be watching.
If you want to understand... It was the code writ large when the code needed it most.
Yeah, in a different
That's
time
what I
zone.
thought.
In a different time zone, Pezza. Moving ahead, PNG, Perth. Let's spread these time zones out, baby. Let's get more games on. Let's compete with the AFL for bunts. That's what we're talking about.
I really enjoyed ahead of the coverage, the interviews with new Bears coach Malcolm Meninga and WA Premier Roger Cook. Now, I can understand them. I can understand Mal Meninga supporting Queensland. That I understand.
Yeah, I can get that.
They asked Roger Cook who he's supporting. You'd think politically speaking, he'd say, I support the team from where North Sydney comes from, being part of this. Queensland.
West Coast.
Bears did have a couple of good Queensland players, to be fair.
Mitch Marsh was in the sheds after the game having a beer.
With who?
With the Queenslanders. He's wearing Queensland jersey.
Awesome. Yeah, that's all right.
I don't know. Right. I don't know why I support. I don't know what his link is to Queensland. But anyone
beers, just winning sheds. I think
he was holding a 4X to be fair. Yeah, a couple of settlers there for the Bison. I suppose anyone that has a passing interest in rugby league was never going to support the city full of coats.
Oh yeah,
if you're not from Sydney, why would you want anything to do with Sydney? Now, if you're...
And there are other places in New South Wales, but mainly Sydney. Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Who supply most of the players.
That's right. So, and if you're from New South Wales or Sydney, why would you want to learn any of the names of the other cities in the country?
Absolutely.
This is the rivalry.
Oh, I love watching the players say their club names in the ahead of the game. It's like, I'm learning a new place. In New South Wales. Yeah. Oh, look,
What was
I thought it was I just thought it was a great night for the code. That's all I'm saying. And I think if you've watched the code for long enough, I think you could pick it up in about 2 minutes. You're like, I see what's going on. Queensland did well with their momentum.
And they scored the points.
People are like, but New South Wales real discipline. It's like, well, that's going to happen when you just continually seeing the opposition marched up the field. It's kind of symbiotic.
Bill Simmons
and Harrigan. Sorry,
Bill Simmons and Harrigan. Bill Simmons ahead of the Eastern Conference player finals in the NBA.
Oh yeah,
he was excited for the referee coming into the NBA finals called the extender, meaning they're going to get this to a game 7. Yeah. Now I'm not drawing any parallels here with AK's performance, in the middle. I'm just saying, I think it's really good for the game that we get a game 3. It's the best 2 words in sport, Pezza. Game 3.
Yeah, of course, always said that.
That's what they say in the States.
Yeah.
Which we obviously all aspire to. Hence why we have Wolfmother performing in Perth before the game.
And then
I love pre-show entertainment in sport. I love it. It's my favourite thing. I usually switch off afterwards.
Oh, he definitely gets me going.
Yeah. Oh, I am fired up.
Yeah.
Joker and the Thief, please. More of that.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Joker and the Thief. Yeah, like, banger in its time. But to be fair, but like, I'm just trying to get the words right here. Like, when I'm 9 years old watching State of Origin, so for me that's 1994.
Okay.
Like, what's the Joker and the Thief equivalent? So Joker and the Thief is what, 2006 or something like that. So it's an 06.
So you're looking at nearly 20 years. So
20 years. So 94. It's a 1974 song.
Skyhooks.
Yeah. Okay, I get it now. I get it now. Sitting there with mum and dad, like, this is an absolute banger.
Yeah.
And you're like, by definition, it's not, because you're saying that.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Anyway, that still gets you going. It's a tune.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, Australian sport is great. Everyone's sport is great. You just don't need to copy everyone else. Now, we'll get to the AFL in a second. But it just feels like a poor attempt at something that is great about American sports,
I think, Queenslanders will be sitting here listening to this going, sour grapes blaming the referee. You misunderstand if that's the case. This, like,
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't, to be fair.
Neither did you. No one said it.
No, I think it's all wrapped up to the same thing. This is what an ambush is. There's two sides to an ambush. There's taking the momentum when you've got it. There's also sorting things out beforehand as well to ensure that you get that momentum. That's how you think a Queensland ambush is built on the back of just strong on-field play and Lindsay Collins running over Spencer Leniu.
Grow up. Understand
what's actually going on. Follow the money.
Now that's an allegation.
No, I don't know what that means. just look peep under the hood.
Yeah, I watched The Big Short on the plane over. Just follow the money. Luke Lewis said during the game, Pez, I think it was about half time. He said he's your friend, to be fair.
Good man, Louis.
New South Wales have turned up to fight. Queensland have turned up to play rugby league. Which
exactly.
helps because it was Origin. So that does help. That does help. But
I thought New South Wales were complacent. How are they not aware there was the ambush was coming? Unless New South Wales are part of the ambush. You know what I'm saying?
I saw Gus's comments as well.
He would have seen it coming.
He was more backing up Luke Lewis, is what I was saying. He was more saying, like, New South Wales seemed to think that this game was just going to be an all-out brawl, which, to be fair, we had spoken about, and we thought, if there's not a stink in the first 15, I'm not here. TV's out the window again, which I'm running out of TVs, I've got to say.
It's hard in the air, but yeah.
And, so Queensland actually wanted to play their football, and New South Wales more interested in a blue, so to speak.
I mean, you know what I thought, in all seriousness, I thought it was, I felt very old watching it for lots of reasons, but like both teams seemed so committed to their structures and their game plans. It didn't seem to bear any correlation to the fact it was absolutely pissing down. Like there was still, you know what I mean? It's just like you don't want to seem really old, but like, can somebody please tuck the ball under the arm and just hit it up? Just maybe a couple of unders plays, change direction every so often, and just hold on to the pill, like hold on to things. Like no, like this is modern sport with younger, confident blokes. It's like you sort of robotically drilled into your structures and the way you move the ball, and guys are just popping passes everywhere. Like, fuck's sake, hold on to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, for a game that was that wet, for it to finish 26-24, 5 tries to 4, the losing side scoring less tries, of course, is remarkable. That's also a testament to the drainage of the field and Western Australia's hospitality.
That's exactly. Well, I think WA, I mean, rugby league's, trying to crack into this market, right? It's sitting next to prostitution services in the paper.
Well,
okay, in Kerry
paper.
That's
the same in the SMH, to be fair.
Well, and they are kind of one and the same. Yeah. I think rugby league put its best foot forward. It's trying to say to WA, this is who we are. This is who we are.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's a winner. We go to game 3. If Ashley Klein's refereeing again, well, you got to love the code.
Yeah. I called one of those sex lines once when I was in year 10.
Oh, what happened?
The girl told me to hang up because I was too young.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Did you put on try and put on a deeper voice?
Yeah.
And still, no good.
Nah, no good.
Yeah.
I still think about it, though.
Yeah. The sirens go past.
Jerome Luai is facing a fine, Pezza. For,
Oh, yeah.
on arguing John
13% match fee.
Ruben
Okay.
Connor. 13% is an odd number, isn't it? What impact do you
It
reckon?
actually is, yeah.
What impact do you think Cleary's groin had? Couldn't kick.
Oh, well.
And when he did, it wasn't
I
amazing.
mean, the first thing I want to point out is you're the first person I've ever heard call him Cleary, because it seems everyone else calls him Nathan. They all know him.
Yeah, that's right.
I think even like hearing the referees on the field,
Nathan.
when they're challenging, guy Nathan drops a ball,
Yeah.
So he's a Nathan.
I was sitting at home once, and I was at my parents' house.
calling an escort line.
And I was calling an escort line, and then a dog like ran past my bedroom window, which was facing the street at the time, and still does. But
Yes.
there's been no structural changes to that
Yeah,
house. Just want
thank
people
you.
to know.
Thanks, Clara.
And then a woman was like chasing the dog. The dog had obviously got away from the lead, and she just yelled out, "Nathan!" So the dog's name is Nathan. And I just like dogs with human names are
Yeah.
great.
Oh,
So
that's the best.
I can't call him Nathan because
Yeah.
I still think about the dog that got away.
Fair enough.
And that's Origin too.
I mean, I've made comments earlier in this show about the code being magical and the ambush and what goes in behind the ambush, but this is potentially more controversial. As we all know, Nathan is Nathan is already the next immortal of the game, according to everybody who runs the game of rugby league.
Ninth.
And he has been part of teams that have won a lot of premierships, and he's won some Origin games as well. I haven't seen him play like an immortal, like as often as you'd imagine an immortal might play.
Right.
Which isn't to say he's an excellent player.
Good player.
Okay.
Good player. He's a good footballer.
He's more than a good footballer, right? He's a very good footballer.
He's
but
a really good footballer.
He's really good at football.
Footballer.
But to a lot of people, he's Nathan, and he's unimpeachable. Do you know what I mean, though? And I just last night I'm like, where's Nathan? He's untouchable. He's unimpeachable.
Yeah.
And once again, I love him. He's a very good footballer. I love the Cleary family.
Yeah.
And running through again, it's 4 premierships. It's a bunch of Origin wins.
Yeah.
It's some moments within that as well.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this in the context of being the
Right.
already unofficially anointed next immortal of the game of rugby league, untouchable, always selected, etc.
Yep.
I didn't see that guy last night again. Again.
So
Where are you on that? Is that you don't want to touch that? I mean,
Well, Nathan's a close friend.
he doesn't have to be. They call him Nathan.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's sort of it's in the last two in the first 2 games of the series so far. It feels like New South Wales, for the majority of the series and in tries scored, have dominated Queensland. Yet here we are.
Well, that's the code, mate.
That's how it works.
That's the code.
Lomax even hit the post. I mean, like because the tries all sort of came from New South Wales on the fringes, I suppose. They kept scoring out wide. And so, like, it's not like the goal kicking was so horrendous that, like, Lomax was missing from, in front or whatever. But it is getting frustrating with us continually scoring points or scoring tries and then not capitalising on the maximum amount of points for those.
I love how
Positive.
Munster's player of the match, Brian Toto, scores 3 tries and runs 200 plus metres, and they don't win because of goal kicking.
Yeah.
But I also love how as soon as the game's over, strapline across the decider. You're like, it's just the code.
It's perfect.
That's the code. That's the code.
And the code is the code.
The code is the code.
Game's the game, the code's the code.
And we move and we respect it. And it's Queensland ambush, and we've known it for time immemorial, and that's how it works.
Expect the unexpected.
Yep.
And in Origin, the form guide goes out the window.
Exactly.
And so this episode of The Circus is brought to you by Swyftx. Swyftx is an Aussie crypto exchange. You can trade over 450 different cryptos, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, and others. The Swyftx difference, it's an easy-to-use platform with insights and educational resources to help you start your investment journey.
If you want to.
A bit of Swyftx on the scoreboard last night because Swyftx sponsored the NRL at large. You can join Swyftx and get $20 in Bitcoin for new customers only by using the link in the show notes of this episode. You can join over 850,000 Aussies who trade with Swyftx. Pezza, have you checked your investments so far?
Yeah, I'm still down.
I haven't looked at it since we've got back. That's because we got back late last night. So I need to look at it after this, and I can update you. But you're still down, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm down. Okay. Just seem to perennially be 2% down. But the fact is, with this sponsorship, I can see very well that I'm down. People got to understand. People got to understand what the partnership is. The platform is wonderful. Yeah. I can see that I'm down. The numbers are good. Yeah. It's intuitive to me.
A clean website.
I can click buttons as somebody who doesn't do money that well.
Okay, right.
I don't do money that well.
Yeah, you can come and go.
But I can go to Swyftx and I can know that well.
It's clean. It's a clean platform. You go to the screen, the numbers are clear, and they'll say to you right now, I'm just 2% down.
And it makes it very clear to me. I can look at all the different cryptocurrencies and I can see which of them are performing and which aren't, and how it goes up and down and all around.
Yeah.
And then I can click buttons very easily.
Yeah.
And I understand what's happening as it goes on. Nothing is confusing me about it.
Yeah.
The colors are good. The layout is good.
Yeah.
I can do it as a demo mode if I want. There are educational resources, etc.
I'm on the demo mode, but I said to you before we were in London the other day, I was just saying because you're using actual money.
Yeah.
And I've not done that, so I've gone for the coward's way out so far.
Yes.
But I need to get off the demo mode and also see the numbers go up and down all around.
I'm not, you as I'd say to the listener and the viewer, it's not about being cowardly or maverick or cavalier or anything. You just do it. You've got options with this platform to do whatever you like.
Yeah.
Use your own wisdom with it. I've gone in a little bit and I'm down.
Yeah.
And
for now,
and you got to say to the listener, to the viewer, you do what you like with your money. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, the platform's intuitive and it's clean. If you want to do that, it's a good platform through which to do it. Okay? 2%, only 2%. Swyftx.
Warwick Kappa's been banned by the AFL for attending all AFL venues for the next 5 years.
Now we're talking.
Tom Morris reported that Warwick Kappa told 9 News Melbourne the other night, he told a caterer at the MCG, "You're a nice looking girl. You'd look good in my brothel."
And he's been slapped with a lengthy ban.
So my takeaway from this, Pezza, is how much of a pig do you have to have been to say that and then get a ban for 5 years? 5 years. Like that's not nothing. People have been calling that half a decade. Not me. I've heard people online say that. That's half a decade. 5 years.
Has the AFL gone whack here?
Yeah. I think they have.
Can
when they did this, Mike Breen was heard saying bang.
Can we just take a moment to like, this is the best time of year for winter sport. So like rugby league, like a lot of people seem to think that this time of year is where AFL struggles. Okay? Like the NRL is producing a showcase event that frankly stops the nation, if not the world, for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? We know everybody by first name, Nathan, etc. Queensland Ambush. We're taking it to different states. Roger Cook, you name it. Right? Wolf Mother, Joker and the Thief. It's creme de la creme, premium Australian sport.
Eye gougers.
Right? That's right. You never see anything like it. Don't wear pads. America,
Ashley Klein.
Ashley
Martin. And Calvin Klein.
Perfect. And Swyftx. And people seem to think this is where AFL struggles. People call up SEN and go, because there's very little happening in the AFL on field. People forget this is where the AFL steps up because people think that the war is happening on the field. AFL's already ready. No. The AFL is taking the war off field because this is where it lives. Yeah. Consider some of the great conversations going on in AFL at the moment.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay. Craig McRae, Sonia Hood and Blair Hartley are among the names the AFL is expected to contact to be on its refurbished competition committee.
Yeah, good. Yep.
Okay.
I think now would be a time for round 0.
Matthew Nix wants the AFL to move to last touch out of bounds as revealed in the AFL memo sent out to assistant coaches across the league.
Well, that's interesting.
And Nixie says the insufficient intent rule, I just don't really understand.
Doesn't understand it.
Okay, and okay, so Cal Toomey says Matthew Pavlich is one of the leading candidates to become the next AFLPA CEO, and that, quote, clubs continue to push for him to be part of this.
Yeah. Yep.
Jamara Ugle-Hagen's taken his first steps to returning. Luke Beveridge, the coach, says there's no update on when he'll return.
And he just signed a 2-year contract extension. So
Jake Lloyd's been dropped by the Swans.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, Papley and Goulden's back for the Swans pending training, so everything's good at Moore Park.
Yep. First time he hasn't played in 10 years or something.
Yeah. Obviously, as you said, Warwick Kappa told Nine News. He told Nine News.
He told
said,
them.
Yeah, you're a nice looking girl. You look good in my brothel. Slept with a lengthy band. And fine. Just anything else on Kappa?
Well, when I think about, hospitality, boxes and the conversations, I think about them.
Conversations therein.
And the conversations therein, some of the sheer piggery, which was a magazine that I funded in the 90s. It was called Sheer Piggery.
Yeah. It was a crossover with piggery on farms as well.
It was.
And shearing.
It was. It was about shearing and it was about piggery. And it was a fashion...
And the conversations therein.
It was a fashion line. It was about the conversations therein.
Yeah.
You think about the sheer piggery in some of the conversations around boxes, and for someone to say that and then like a record scratching, be like, holy shit, that's gone too far. You can't come back here for 5 years.
Yeah. You notice
There's some form there, I'm going to suggest.
Yeah.
Also news to me, he had a brothel. I'm not.
Well, knowing that you started your escort proclivities early on in year 10
I started the journey in year 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've watched yourself across the journey.
I had to in the end. Yeah.
Did you catch the Warren Treadray news?
What's that?
I'm taking this from Fox Sports. So,
okay.
Port Adelaide chairman David Koch has defended Warren Treadray after the club great's position on the Powers board has come under question following the Premiership captain's bizarre comments in his court case with his former employer, Channel 9. Treadray has sought almost $6 million in lost wages from Channel 9 after he was sacked from his role as a TV sports presenter on 9 News Adelaide in 2021. This would be a great news to Trent. Following a very public COVID-19 vaccine saga. Treadray was ordered to pay all of Channel 9's legal costs. Okay, so, stuff happens over COVID. So far, so good. Good. What's the issue? Who's getting whacked?
Yep.
Who's going bang?
Yeah, who's going bang?
He lost the trial, was ordered to pay costs between $100 and $200K for a failed appeal. But Treadray told the federal court on Tuesday he cannot pay legal costs because he doesn't believe in Australian legal tender.
I did see that.
And would have to repay his former employer in precious metal. METAL, metal. Representing himself, Treadray claimed there isn't sufficient gold or silver to cover Nine's legal costs. So he issued an IOU, a written promissory note.
Yep.
Okay. He goes on to say, I believe only gold or silver coins in common circulation can pay a debt.
Yeah.
Right?
He's good for it. He's got an IOU. He's good for it.
It's only gold and silver coins that could get this job done.
Yeah.
46-year-old claimed the debt was, quote, discharged because Nine did not respond to his request. Nine did not accept the promissory note as a valid form of repayment. So he's representing himself. He stated in court documents that he's, quote, a private man.
Yeah, he's a private
and not a, quote, legal person, citizen or resident.
No.
And I've been that when I've owed people money too.
Yeah. I'd love to pay you back. I've got no fucking gold bullion.
He says in according to Fox Sports in court documents, have clearly been leaked.
Yes.
I answer to the name Warren Treadray of South Australia, a private man. My yes be yes, my no be no.
Very simple. That's very simple.
I am not an entity, legal person, citizen, resident, or any form of creature of statute. I have not been provided with any material facts or evidence that shows there exists any lawful gold or silver coin of substance in common circulation upon which to close, pay, or extinguish an account. I believe sincerely that none exists. I believe no gold or silver coin in circulation can pay a debt. Now, to be fair to Treadray, he's disputed claims he identifies as a sovereign citizen. He says, does he recognise himself as an Australian citizen? Treadray says, absolutely I do. It's a farcical approach and attempt by Channel 9. They threatened to bankrupt me when these proceedings started, and that's what they're trying to do. Now, I am a citizen. They've already been paid from a legal form of payment. Check all the federal acts. Now, a lot of us have been in fines meetings in cricket. And I've watched a lot of people try and get out of fines. You know what I mean? You step on the field before the captain. Yeah. You drop the catch.
Right. You were late.
You were late. You said the wrong thing at the wrong time. Right. Your penis is too small, whatever. Penis is too big. Yeah. You owe a fine. And I've seen a lot of people try and get out of fine. Your sister's hot. Yeah. Pay a fine. I've seen a lot of people try and argue their way out of fines and start lying about being a lawyer or having done some legal matters before. Right. I haven't heard this reason put forward though.
No.
Like I don't like there aren't enough gold or silver coins in circulation for me to service his debts.
Well, good news for Warren.
Yeah.
You get $20 in Bitcoin for new customers only by using the link in the show notes.
A lot of people going, very interesting, boys.
Now, I have seen this, though. You know, there was a great theme during COVID of people that are upset with the restrictions being put in place by the government over what you couldn't do during that period of time. And
I've seen that,
and they would film them talking to police, and then the police would say, you got to be wearing a mask or you shouldn't be
Rebel News type stuff.
Yeah.
And Rebel News is basically just boys actually to police officers.
And so the police would say, why aren't you wearing a mask or whatever? And they'd say, well, I identify as a sovereign citizen. And I don't have any gold coins on me right now, but I'm good for it. Here's an IOU. And the police would say, there is a legislation in place and you have to do this. And they'll say, what is it? And they'll say it and they'll be like, I don't recognise that.
That's sovereign citizen, mate.
I'm a sovvy.
Please pay $3 into our kitty because your penis is too small. Sovereign citizen, sorry, mate. Gold, silver coins.
Mate, usually would love to.
Yeah.
Would love to.
Ordinarily would. Not enough in circulation. Also, my cock's not that bad.
I'll check down the back of the couch, but if it's not there.
So anyway, I think it's 1-0 to the AFL this week.
And that bloke, Nick Harmison, popped his hamstring when he did the coin toss for the Saints-Dogs game.
He must have been so tense doing it.
He needs a foam roll before. Yeah. He's been on Media Street as well. As you would, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which he's owned the jokes are good on him.
Yep.
Now, Xander Maguire, I guess he's a friend and a colleague.
Of course, yeah.
He doesn't know that, but he has tweeted, inspired by Penn State's whiteout, one of the most famous traditions in US sport. Geelong is kitting out the Cattery with 40,000 free whites Cats T-shirts on Friday. The goal, creating a college football-like cauldron versus the reigning premiers. So this is obviously to celebrate Danger's 350th game. All 40,000 seats will have a free tee on them, with the Cats hoping to ramp up their home ground advantage with a college football-like cauldron. I'm going to guess they're going to be Cotton On T-shirts.
Good guess, yeah. Well, notwithstanding that's the first time I've seen the AFL lower itself to borrowing ideas from other codes. I mean, under the AFL, I didn't think any other codes existed, But I don't think it's the first whiteout that the AFL's seen. We look back to the Good saga.
Fuck me. Yeah. Yeah, there is that. Now, one thing I would like to see. Now, I'm not. Someone can boys actually it to me, but I don't know what the college team is. But one university has they enter the stadium for college football to enter Sandman.
Oh yeah. I watched that one.
That is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
What about the stadium falling over?
Yeah,
when you see it.
Yeah,
it's good though.
It's rocking. Yeah, like literally rocking. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
New South Wales enters to that now as well. That's their thing.
Mm-hmm. And the Wallabies had
Waltzing Matilda. John Williamson with corks coming off his hat. Mate, they were the times.
Yeah. They used to run it with HSBC on their jerseys.
Hell of a response to the haka. Yeah. Once a job. Well, you know what? I mock it, but I liked it at the time.
I don't like it.
I liked it, and I want it back.
That's right. It's like me with masks during COVID.
You want it back?
Yeah. That's right. Anyway, that'll be exciting. Hey, a bit of good news for the AFL, Pezza. Now, this is good news for me and traditions and being old.
Mm-hmm.
The AFL have confirmed the grand final will start at 2:30 p.m. And I think for anyone that actually likes the game, that's fucking good. And if you have a semi-interest in it, or a semi, you'd be like, I like the nighttime stuff, to be honest. I can watch it. I can get on with me day, and it's on at nighttime. I can flick it on, cheese and crackers. That's more whiteout stuff.
I think what you got to understand is that if you want to
grow the game.
Well, if you want to grow the game, I mean, especially over in Perth, you know, if people. I mean, if you start the game at 2:30, but 11:30, mate, people in Perth 11:30, whatever. I mean, they're busy. If they're not watching the grand final, you know, they're busy at 11:30. Start at 5 o'clock, you get them in at 2:30. You know,
Yeah.
3 you move you get the ratings for 3 million to 4 million. You know, the ads you can sit around. You know,
It's like you're ordering something at Lamaro's.
I'm just right around. Yeah. I saw Sam McClure doing this. It was awesome. It's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
Why would you want more people to the game?
Yeah, it's a little bit of humour.
A little bit of humour there. Yeah. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. And yeah.
Did you ever do anything for? My family never did anything for the AFL Grand Final. Obviously, being from Sydney.
Yeah.
But the NRL Grand Final.
Yes.
3 p.m.
Yes,
kickoffs.
yes, barbecues.
We as a family, like in our neighbourhood as a kid growing up, we used to like rotate around people's houses to have like a barbecue for it. And it was like, those were like really nice memories. It was just like we had, I don't know how everyone knew each other, but it was just like, it was in adjacent streets or like everyone got.
It was a very novel idea back in the day where communities mingled, you know, and neighbours had neighbourly relations. You talked about, you know, rotating each other's houses. Your parents actually after that, after you went to bed, they would rotate around each other's houses in a swingers style scenario.
Dad was always losing his keys.
No, we had the same thing. Lovely memories of like going to people's houses for barbecues on grand final day.
Right.
Children being involved.
Yes.
It's there's no money in it whatsoever, so I don't expect these.
There's no money.
There's no money in kids. No. Really. Like no short term money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You can consolidate their love of the game long term, but if I'm an administrator, it's fucking I get no benefit out of that. I'm in this for 2 to 3 years. Deliver on the bottom line. Fuck off. Someone else's problem. Someone else's problem.
That's right.
Juice says motherfucker. Yeah. Seriously, 4 million people can watch it. Semi-interested people can watch the game, and you can sell more ads. Therefore, more money on the bottom line. Fucking work it out. Next person can work it out.
Well, how come? But I really love the game, and like my love for the game will be slightly diminished by having to watch it at a different time from what I'm used to. What do you say to that?
I don't give a fuck, mate.
Sovereign. I'm
a sovereign citizen, mate. It's not a fucking gold and silver in circulation, mate. Promissory note.
Now I'm thinking about the horse silver sovereign.
Or the fictitious horse, Summer Sizzler, Kenny Calendar, and Super Sunday. Sizzler.
Silver sovereign.
Yeah, that's right. Summer Sizzler. Yeah. No, it's a good win for you know, deepening people's love and engagement with the game at a familial level to protect the ongoing love and custodianship of it.
Yeah.
But they are leaving money on the table, and that is a big no-no in this late stage capitalist era.
When I think about some of those barbecues I'm talking about, I think the first time I ever saw someone drunk, or I knew they were drunk, was at one of those events. It wasn't my dad, but it was someone else's. Actually, the same last name as us. But he was flogged.
Well, that's another thing. You get all the
great afternoon.
You get all of this compounding and adjacent lessons for kids as well.
Yeah,
the parents can have alcohol issues. You know what I mean?
That's right. Let's talk about football. And the Club World Cup is on, as we've been discussing, and building up the tension before the tournament starts.
Yeah, please get to the Club World Cup, guys. Says Australia.
Yeah, Bayern Munich beat Auckland City 10-0. Now, Opta, the stats platform, they place Bayern as the 4th best team in the world, and Auckland City has 4,928.
Well, it's the beauty of the game.
So Auckland are a semi-pro team. Their goalkeeper, for instance, works in a warehouse distributing pharmaceuticals to vets in New Zealand. And I say that only to highlight the difference between some of the guys that would be earning squillions for Bayern Munich and people that have actual real jobs that fundamentally matter. But if I work for if I play for Auckland City, I'm like, well, I'm actually winning because I get to do this. I get to have a normal life. I'm a normal person. And I also get to play against Bayern Munich and go to the US and, you know, play sports. So, but it's also a bit of a mockery to the whole thing when there's semi-pro teams in it and they play Bayern Munich and lose 10-0.
Yeah, well, we can be in a backwater in a corner of the world here in Australia. We've been lucky to be over in London, you know, there and thereabouts with footballing lovers, and they are absolutely riveted by this Club World Cup.
They really are.
People
they really are.
I barely knew the cricket was on. It was just like, please tune in. It's Fluminense versus Uruguay Diamonds.
Yep.
Red Diamonds, I should say.
Yep. Well, and the people, so it's in the US, obviously. It's 12 venues in 11 cities, and people have just been flocking to this. They made flocking to this. So FIFA spent $50 million promoting the tournament. It was Chelsea against LA. Stadium was about a third full, so 22,000 sold for a 75,000 seater stadium. So people really loving it. Also, pretty good news here. FIFA had decided not to show any videos, signage, or marketing assets in venues hosting the Club World Cup in the US, which explicitly mentioned challenging racism or discrimination. Mm-hmm. So FIFA then did display anti-racism and discrimination messaging at the Club World Cup for the first time on Wednesday to mark International Day for Countering Hate Speech, one of my favourite days in the calendar, Pezza. This came following a backlash to its decision to roll back its campaigns against racism and discrimination across the opening 3 days of the tournament in the US. So, and they haven't said, it's because of the political climate in the US at the moment. So that's all going pretty well. Now, I did enjoy this because Juventus are playing the Club World Cup, Pezza. So they had players, coaches, and executives attend the Oval Office who met with President Trump. This was on Wednesday before their first game. Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, was also there in attendance. The Juventus delegation stood in the background. I'm reading via The Athletic here. As Trump answered questions on the Iran-Israel conflict, while they also attempted to discuss transgender women's participation in sport with the team. We have a very good women's team, Juventus GM Damien Kimoli replied when asked by Trump if they thought a woman could make the Juventus men's team.
Fucking hell. I did. So it's Barney Ronay's over there.
It's a good media minds. Oh, is he?
And he said, that all the institutions involved in this, FIFA and DAZN and stuff are appalling, reprehensible companies and organisations. But the ceremony was actually pretty good.
Can you reckon? Was Wolf Mother playing?
Don't know. You can imagine Barney saying that. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's all going pretty well. And yeah, teams are playing against other teams, and it all looks.
Well, I don't know if there's one thing football needs is more football.
I think so,
especially in the summer.
I think the players will be up for this. Yep. The players will be loving this. Yeah.
Talk about juicing. Oh, Juventus, yeah.
And a bit of good news as well. Finally, the Premier League fixtures have been announced, Pezza. So that's good. Here's Man United's first 5 games. They've got Arsenal, Man United versus Arsenal at home. They go away to Fulham.
Yep.
They host Burnley. They go away to City. And they host Chelsea.
I'll only drop a point or two out of that.
Arsenal will go away to United, host Leeds, away to Liverpool, host Forest, host Man City. That looks hard. Liverpool, they're hosting Bournemouth for the first game. Then they go to St James's Park for Newcastle. They're hosting Arsenal, go away to Burnley, and then the Merseyside derby at Anfield for their first 5 fixtures.
Fantastic.
So that will mean that people we can pretty much figure out who's going to play where in the teams and
that's true.
How the season's going to go.
Liverpool's here again.
As a United fan, Pezza, what do you want? Which is realistic?
What? Title.
Yep.
Well, I notice, they're signing a midfielder and a striker, and just as it has been for the last 12 years, or actually longer, sorry, for the last 13, 14 years, I think 1 or 2 signings should fix the foundational, fundamental issues affecting the club that go all the way to the ownership level.
Okay.
I think if you can get Cunha in, never said his name out loud. It might just bring the team together, just kind of especially under Amorim. Exactly.
That's exciting.
So, and the Brentford striker. So, that'll be goals.
Yep.
So,
that is good. That is good.
What I want, I think United should rightly be in the conversation for relegation.
Do you actually think that?
I find it like it's far more rational than talking about like top 4, given the trend of the team.
Okay, yeah. So,
but I only watch 3-minute highlights at best now. So,
right. Liverpool just bought Florian Wirtz.
Yeah.
From Bayern Leverkusen for a record fee in the Premier League. It's going to go up to about 116 million euros. So,
just confirming you said Bayer Leverkusen there, just for the boys actually all over that.
What did I
I
say?
thought I heard an N there.
Oh, I say
Bayern
so.
Leverkusen.
Oh, sorry.
You might not have said that, but yeah. I can just see the emails flooding in.
Flooding in.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Euro snobs.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the basketball, Pezza. The Lakers have been bought this morning, as I understand, sold for $10 billion by the bloke that owns the Dodgers. His name's Mark Walter, who's a money guy. The deal may rise to $12 billion. The Buss family, who have owned the team since 1979, when they bought it for $68 million, a snip back then, have agreed in principle to the sale. That is a global record for any sports team, beating the sale of the Celtics for $6.1 billion in March. So Walter had a 27% stake in the Lakers since 2021 with Todd Bowley, I think his name is, who's the co-controlling owner of Chelsea. So it's just big old money guys just buying up sports teams and just
Toys.
Just using them for toys.
Just got toys.
Playthings. And that's good news for fans. That's good news
You
for
go to
fans.
Toyland, Toys R Us, buy it off the shelf,
Yep.
have a box, entertain people, have a few drinks, say who should be playing where. It'd be good.
Now, Todd, who, as I said, is a co-controlling owner of Chelsea, he said yesterday, I think it was, that he almost bought Sunderland instead. So that's good news if you support Chelsea, for instance, or a Lakers guy or whatever, and the co-controlling owners, it's like, almost bought someone else. It's like, oh, this is the guy that gets it. This is a guy that is in love with the team in the same way that I am, and that's good news for me. You know?
I think you're pushing shit up a hill if you don't have state money these days.
Yep.
You know, I know that Liverpool's doing well, but at the end of the day, you're going to need to be washing some stuff in your own state.
Yep.
To have a crack in football.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, that'd be good. Hey, OKC are leading the Indiana Pacers 3-2 as Game 6 heads to Indiana.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams has had a 40-point game in Game 5. The league's MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, had 31 points. OKC were up all night by as much as 18, I think it was, at different times. But in the fourth quarter, Indiana, who have come back from huge deficits multiple times this season and postseason, cut the lead to 2 in the fourth quarter before OKC then went on like a 7-0 run. Eventually won the game by 11. Tyrese Halliburton is pushing to play in Game 6 with a calf strain. He's obviously significant for the Pacers. Game 6 is tomorrow. Game 7 would be Monday, Australia time. That's going to be in Oklahoma. Game 7 will be awesome just for, just a casual sports interest fan. But, yeah. OKC, I believe, are the second youngest team to play in the NBA Finals, the second youngest average age in the NBA Finals since, I think it was the Trailblazers, I want to say in the 70s. Yeah, as with American sports, that move cities, obviously regularly. OKC used to be the Seattle Supersonics before the team moved in 2008, and Seattle have got no interest in OKC winning because their hearts are broken. You imagine so Seattle being from Washington, obviously like the very northwest of America, and then like your team just moves to Oklahoma, just north of Texas, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
that would
there's a
fucking
lot of that in
suck.
American sports. Just dad going out for cigarettes and never coming back.
Yeah.
You know? You never know.
The Seattle Supersonics. So Seattle have the Seattle Mariners, the baseball team, and the Seahawks, the NFL team. And both those teams are newer than so the Supersonics outdates both those teams, right? So the Supersonics had like a legacy in the area, and then just going to move the team to OKC. I guess that's how American sports work sometimes. I mean, you have a similar thing really with the Bears in league.
But I found dad again.
You found dad again, yeah. OKC is not moving back to, especially no time soon.
And it's funny, isn't it? Like this OKC team is now objectively the best OKC team they've had, and yet in my head it's just like, it's KD, Westbrook and Harden, you know?
Yeah.
I think Steven Adams.
Yeah, so even
Serge Ibaka,
even that team, even though that team was very young, this team is actually younger average age than what that team was.
Yeah. I look at this team and I mean, I fell in love with OKC actually briefly. A little fling when I was overseas. I was overseas for the finals in 2012. It was Miami OKC. I was like, well, I'm going to support OKC, and it was really good, even though they got pumped 4-1 ultimately. But yeah, it looks like these guys are probably going to get it done.
Guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
And, Caitlin Clark is still getting assaulted in the WNBA. Some stuff going around on Twitter. She got a massive eye gouge, and then the team just all came together. She knocked to the floor. 3 players got a tech. No one got ejected. It's pretty wild what happens in the It's like the WNBA is like more physical than what the NBA is. It almost reminds me of what I never watched the NBA in the 90s, but having seen Jordan's doco like from the 80s and the 90s with like the Detroit side, you know how physical they were. Almost called the Lions. It's a football team, the Pistons, right? Yeah, it seems like Caitlin Clark gets fucking attacked every game, and she is an incredible player.
Badge of honour.
All right, golf, Pezza. JJ Spawn wins the US Open at Oakmont. He nailed a 64-foot putt in the rain to win. He needed to two-putt it, sunk it in one. It was incredible. They made him finish 1 under par for the tournament. He was the only player to finish under par. He was 3 under at the start of the day, then played the first 6 holes, 5 over, then dragged it back. So Adam Scott, who was like everyone wanted Adam Scott to win, including Americans, but certainly us in Australia. He was 1 shot back heading into the final round. He then finished outside the top 10. I think he finished like 19th or something in the end with a 9 over in the final round. Absolutely brutal conditions over the week, but then the final day as well was horrendous. There was wind and rain. There was a 2-hour rain break. So Sam Burns, who was playing in the final pair with Adam Scott, he was leading into the final round, but then he shot 7 over as well and finished well back. I think he finished like 8th or 9th or something. He might have been stitched up with a surface water ruling a couple of times as well. So, yeah, but it's pretty amazing. JJ Spawn. Have you seen the putt to win? It's absolutely amazing. He just needed 2 putts to win, but to putt from that length on these greens is just absolutely incredible. So US Open is considered like the absolute heart. It's the hardest one. It's like they make it, they try and make it so players, no one finishes under par. So the greens are running at like, I think they're running at like 16 or something like that. I'm actually not sure what that rating means, but the higher the number, the harder it is basically. So I think majors typically roll about 12 or 13. And I think for this one, this was rolling at like 15 or 16. So like unbelievably fast greens, which makes it so much harder. The rough away from the fairways is incredibly difficult, etc. So, yeah, pretty amazing.
Just like where's the US Open ranking in terms of prestige? You know what I mean? Like, are any of these tournaments outside of the majors or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they getting anybody hot outside of like golfing aficionados?
I don't think so. So Masters number 1. So my Masters seems
power rank. Don't just rank them. Power rankings.
Yeah. So Masters number 1 because I think that gets the casual fan the most interested. It seems to get outside of like the golf Twitter, call it that. I think in terms of the prestige, next would be the British, just simply called the Open. But it's the British Open. So that one that's like 150 years old, that one. And then the US, and then several rungs down is the PGA. And especially now, because in recent times, they've moved the PGA from what I think it used to be in July or August. So like it used to be the last one. And now it's been crammed in between the Masters and the US Open. So now there's 3 majors really close together. And the PGA just lacks meaning entirely, really.
Would the US Open suffer from its like from the fact that it uses US in the title when there's already like a bigger tournament that happens in the US as the Masters? Because to my very like outsider mind, I'm like, all right, so there's a big bopper in the US and there's a big bopper in the UK, and that's it, you know, and then everything after that is like me turning on Fox Sports at 3 a.m. eating a kebab, and it's just
it's just on, yeah. I think that's right because so the equivalent would be tennis, right? Majors, circuit all year round, etc. So they obviously have the US Open at Flushing Meadows there. So if there was like if like Wimbledon, for instance, was also in America, would the US Open be diminished? And I think the answer is yes. So is
it all build up to Masters and British Open
well, the Masters is always the first one in April.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like once the first one's done, it's like,
we'll do it now.
yeah. The British is good though, but that's also different country.
Yeah.
So like
looks different, aesthetically different.
The PGA, in my opinion, should be fucked off, and that's someone that's started to watch golf in like the last sort of 5 years. And
I really love those live party holes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Speaking of Saudi stuff. All right, I want to talk to you, Pezzo, about pole vault.
Thank you.
Armand Duplantis. Definitely said that wrong. I'm sorry to the pole vault freaks out there. He has broken his pole vault world record again. So he's a 25-year-old American-born athlete who represents Sweden. And in Sweden this week, he broke the world record for the 12th time in his career. That's since 2020. So the world record now is 6.28 meters. For breaking the world record in an official World Athletics event, Duplantis can expect to pocket anything between 50,000 US and 100,000 US from the governing body each time. Something that certainly adds up. Each time he's broken the world record, he's done it by 1 centimeter. Now, I'm reading this via ABC Sport. So he's not the only guy that's ever done this, because I think, people have spoken about this guy before. But so Ukrainian and Soviet vaulter Sergei Bubka made breaking his own world record in art throughout the 80s and early 90s. Between 84 and 94, Bubka broke the world record a whopping 17 times outdoors, 10 times by a single centimetre, raising the bar from 585 to 6.14 metres. He also broke the world indoor record 18 times in that same period, and only 3 of those occasions did he break it by more than a single centimetre. So dominant was Bubka that no sponsors were willing to cough up world record bonuses, so Nike incentivized him to the tune of a reported US $100,000 per record to keep reaching his ever-increasing heights. So yeah, the Swedish bloke, Duplantis, he's been doing this racket for a while, and I say fair fucks to him.
Good if you can get it.
Yeah, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, if there was someone else who could jump higher, then they would just do that, right?
Yeah.
So, he's the best, and then he's like, I'll just keep going 1 centimetre at a time.
Exactly right. Rack up between 50 and 100K. Good for him, I say. So, and he appears to be so much better than his competition, the Swedish guy, Duplantis, because in this one, where he broke it in Sweden, they got to like 580, then people dropped off, then 590, people dropped off, then it got to 6 meters, and it was just him and another guy. He passed it at 6 meters, but whoever came second didn't pass at 6 meters, and then he's like, okay, we'll try and get the world record now, an extra 28 centimeters. So you're talking like huge percentage increases here, and he just did that. So like he is significantly better than the next person, it seems. So I say fair fucks to him.
Of course.
Yeah, but like you around barbecues or pubs, and you're like, he's saying this bloke, he's having a rort. He's rorting us like it's our money he's taking,
He's rorting companies. Yeah.
Yeah. He's rorting the good guys.
Oh, it is a good conversational point, though. Like
television.
That's right, because they've been sponsoring it. Good guys.
Yeah.
Sponsoring Olympic athletes. That's a nice inclusion from you there. That's very much like a barbecue thing for people. It's like, oh, you see this Swedish guy, he actually goes up 1 centimetre at a time because he gets 100 grand.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's a service that you're offering the community there.
Just a service.
Yep.
That's all I'm doing. No more, no less.
Yep.
So feel free to use that at your next barbecue. Now, speaking of barbecues...
Just a shout out to Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, who collided the Canadian Grand Prix, June 15.
Yeah, so usually I would have commented, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, well, it was at high speed on the pitch straight, and it actually meant Piastri finished 4th, and Lando Norris crashed out. So, but because of he actually collected more points, Piastri, relative to the rest of the field. Than he has it even for some of his wins. You see,
yeah, that's interesting,
right?
isn't it?
But it has put McLaren at sixes and 7s. Norris took responsibility, saying he violated the team's golden rule, and apologised. That is like driving for the team and not yourself. You're selfish cunt.
Well, he's a fucking selfish prick, isn't he?
But this is racing, Piastri has, despite the frustration, Piastri did remain confident that it wouldn't damage their relationship or the team dynamic. Right? I was just asking him.
He says that publicly.
Yeah, he's 22 points ahead of Norris in the driver's standings. Now, Red Bull Racing team principal Christian Horner. Now he knows how to drive a wedge between people.
Right,
with his
speaking of pigs,
yeah, the horn bag. At some point, self-interest will always outweigh team interest. That's the conflict. Horner said at the time. So, mate, cat pigeons in the F1,
and we know about him, don't we? Christian Horner.
Believe me,
well, he's a cabba's brothel.
Absolutely fascinating.
He's a cabba's brothel.
Yeah, the whiz.
Trying to get catering staff to his brothel. The fucking pig.
So yeah,
he's a pig.
F1, mate. Watch this space,
and we'll be following that closely each week.
Well, as we say, watch this space. That's all I'm saying. Norris, Piastri, it's just that conflict between racing as a team and together. Red Bull trying to.
Now, when does the Tour de France start? Speaking of the F1,
so soon we're in June. We're in Wimbledon.
Yeah, it's great time of year. Great time of year.
We'll be over there.
Yeah, I call it Le Tour.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Get
Well,
up and watch them.
Yeah, I used to have a bike when I was a kid.
Yep. That's what we used to call the brothel circuit. Playing at the Tigers back in the early 2000s.
Who's got the polka dot?
Yeah.
On my dick.
Yeah.
That's a rash.
Green jersey, yellow jersey, you name it.
The Peloton, that's group sex.
Is there a Peloton tonight, boys? Been juicing?
Is Pluppy in that?
I bet he is.
Pluppy in the Peloton?
Pluppy would have a shot at a green jersey or something, wouldn't he? Like, he
He'd have a shot at something.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
Latour.
Now, Smith Optics Australia. That's right. This show is brought to you by Smith Optics Australia. You can use the code FAST for 25% off your order. Speaking of Latour.
Yep, exactly. Plenty of blokes in Latour will be wearing Smith Optics and during that race.
Yeah. During pelotons, during the race itself.
Yeah.
During the hill climb, during the sprints.
Yep.
Yellow
jersey, polka dot.
All of it, mate. All of it. Now, you can get lids. You can get lids with Smith Optics. We're not talking about lids today, though. We're not talking about the helmets today.
No.
We're just talking about the glasses, specifically the prescription glasses range, as well as your regular sunglasses range. Don't forget about that, of course. You can use the code FAST for 25% off your order, both prescription and the sunglasses range. You can also claim Health Fund optical benefits.
So it's above board.
This is all above board this time. This one's all above board.
I took my prescriptions to and the glasses to Lords during the week. Saw a lot of things I didn't want to see, but I fucking saw it well. Actually got so last time we were talking about Smith Optics, I was mentioning again the phenomenon of like getting prescription glasses and your eyes essentially going from SD to HD.
Right? Okay, yes,
and
of course.
just seeing things in glorious 4K, 8K, you name it.
You name it. You name a number, then a letter. That's what it is.
Robert writes in. So we're such is the fandom, the interest over Smith Optics itself. We're actually getting boys actuallys and correspondence from people about the sponsor integration.
Good.
Right?
That's how good.
Yeah,
David
we've had a
Smith
lot over
Optics have
Swyftx as well, just not reading it out. Now, Robert writes in, and he just writes in, and it's just called Peeper's resolution. Because I was talking about seeing things in 4K, 8K, 12K, you name it.
Great.
Hey lads, the old mince pies are estimated to have a resolution of 576 megapixel or 18K.
18K.
From an Eyes fan, brackets classy.
That is classy.
My point is, if the mince pies, and I'll take Robert at his word there.
Yeah. Well, he's a man of principle.
So if your eyes are going at 18K in and of themselves, what are they with Smith Optics prescription glasses? What's that? Where are we at there?
Oh my
24K?
God. I think you multiply.
30K? Is anybody interested in seeing what that looks like?
Yeah.
SmithOptics.com.
You can see sounds. That's how well you
Especially if the old mince pies aren't working as well as you believe they were, which was my experience before going to the Casuarina Mall in Darwin. I've been clear about that.
Yeah, you've been very clear about that. Crystal clear. Almost as clear as the vision after seeing that, doing that trip.
It really has changed my life. It's changed my life.
Yeah.
Watched Origin last night in my prescription Smiths. Again, seeing a lot of things I didn't want to see.
Well, Ashley Klein.
Yeah. I didn't see New South Wales. I didn't see Queensland back 10.
The fucking grubs.
SmithOptics.com if you want to see it all.
Use the code FAST for 25%.
Oh, yeah. And sorry for the 25% off. 25K being the fucking resolution you'll be seeing stuff in, and you get 25% off that.
Are you kidding me? And you're going to sit here, listen to this. You still listen to this. You're sitting there and be like, nah, it's actually not enough, mate.
Here you go. Would you like to see things better at a price that ensures you make money and you don't do anything? You sit on your hands with that?
You fucking piece of
grub.
Shit.
SmithOptics.com if you want to see stuff and make money. Yeah. All right, boys, actually, a couple this week. One from Josh. There's some rugby league matters that don't concern Origin, which is already problematic, but it's called Seabold and JD Vance. Boys, actually, in the week since I sent my last correspondence, he wrote something about Seabold and JD Vance. There have been a lot of developments geopolitically and geopeninsularly.
Okay.
Referring to Manly. It looks like Seabold is on the ropes and World War III is imminent. I, for one, believe that our friend Anthony would be an asset to Western democracy in sniffing out weapons-grade enriched uranium on the ground in Iran. All jokes aside, at least the looming threat of mutually assured destruction hopefully means that Manly's lacklustre season is overshadowed by more important happenings. Kind regards, Josh. So Josh is essentially saying the conflict between Iran and Israel is going to overshadow what's going on at Manly, so that can only be a good thing.
I see. That's definitely going to... Now, they got pumped by the Titans on the weekends.
Yeah.
Cherry Evans has had his State of Origin career ended.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to end pretty well for the boys from the Peninsula.
Yep. Okay, this is from Billy. It's called On-Field Dust-Ups. Hey, boys, when discussing the blow-up between Max Gordon and Stephen May last week, Pez mentioned that on-field stuff between members of the same team, quote, never looks great, is always going to be taken out of context, and I think it leaves fans of that team with a really bad taste, etc. As a long-suffering Waratahs fan, I can't disagree more strongly. Some of the moments I look back on with the most fondness include such blow-ups at teammates as that provoked by Matty the Fatty Dunning's amazing drop goal in 03, which led to the team missing out on the semis. Another classic was Lotte Takiri shoving Sam Norton-Knight in 2007 after Sam selfishly took the tap himself and kicked it ahead only to lose the ball to the Force, denying the Tars an opportunity to win late. What you got to understand about this stuff is that it speaks to the most important part of any sport. How does it relate to me? If I'm angry, why aren't the players angry too? Surely they are upset at the dumb stuff their teammates are doing on the field. Their reactions give me the assurance that my outrage is justified and I really am the most important person on the team. Yours in domestics, Billy. P.S. Could you please reiterate for my wife that 5 inches is actually deep? Billy, The
last bit feels like a suffix.
Yeah, there's a lot of people are writing this stuff, but
okay.
I understand what you mean, Billy. To be fair, and I think the players do get Billy or Billy boy. The players do get angry. I think. I mean, again, lucky enough to have the privilege to be on the field at Lords after South Africa won the game, and then South Africa left the field to sink Castle Lager Pierce, winners Pierce at that.
Yeah.
In the Lords sheds, Aussies were on the field with their families. You know, did we or didn't we speak to a few Aussies? Talking about other Aussies in the team and what they couldn't have done, I'll leave that for you to decide. Do players get angry and want to point the finger, or should I say, should they? Are they fingering others? Yes.
Yeah. Players finger other fingers.
Players finger others when the chips when things aren't going well.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
There's a lot of fingering.
That's because international and professional sport is exactly the same.
Yeah,
they just have better kit.
Better
it's exactly
kit,
the same as
more
amateur.
staff, better kit.
It's the same as school.
Yep.
It's barely reps.
Yep.
You know,
it's glorified rep team. Just better kit, more money into kit.
You know, you like some of the guys, you don't like other guys. You know,
yeah.
In that way, it's actually less like school.
Yep. If you go badly, it's someone else's fault.
Someone else's fault. It's exactly the same.
Simple as that, mate. Final one from Benjamin. It's just simply called Oceania. Boys, you may be interested to know about the bolstering that the mighty Oceania Football Confederation has received. And yes, I am saying Oceania.
Okay, interesting. Right. Yeah,
because I'm on 2GB with Alan Jones.
Speaking of fingering.
Thanks to Marga enthusiast Gianni Infantino's harebrained idea to expand the Men's World Cup to 48 teams.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, Oceania now receives one direct and one intercontinental playoff qualification spot. Not only, so this is clarifying how New Zealand got in.
Can you say that last bit again?
Oceania now receives one direct and one intercontinental playoff qualification spot. So
got it.
Not only does this mean New Zealand have qualified for 2026 brackets and have the chance to extend their quote unbeaten since 2010 run.
Yeah.
But also mighty New Caledonia have progressed to the intercontinental playoffs and have their shot at World Cup glory later in the year. So that's New Caledonia versus probably Uruguay or something.
Something like that,
whatever.
Yeah.
Also, if this format goes unchanged, we're going to see the All Whites be granted a cable car ride into every World Cup, while each time some lesser-known collection of Pacific Islands also gets their moment in the sun. Truly, the glory days of Oceania are ahead of us. Cheers, Ben.
Now, we haven't spoken about on the show
So should we go back to Oceania then? Why the fuck are we in Asia?
That's right. Now, I was going to say that would we... because this is a new thing, the 48-team World Cup. So now it's just a saloon passage in, right?
Well, it should be.
Right. So would we be happy to stay in Asia and go through probably not having made World Cups in the last couple, because Australia would not have beaten fifth place Uruguay, like fifth place South American side, with the quality of our sides.
Yeah.
but we have got in through Asia. So Asia actually has worked out for us in that regard. But now that it's unbelievably easier, just a direct qualification, now we just have to beat New Zealand with greatest respect to New Zealand.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Would we?
See, like, there's part of me it feels like we've become greedy for World Cups. Like, you know, I remember a time when we didn't make them. And then when you made them, it was more special, right? And now it's just like, you know, when's Aziz Beige going to pop one in against third string Japan, you know? And I don't know, like, I feel like we're in Asia because at the time that happened, you know, Kevin Rudd and Julie Gillard were releasing white papers about the Asian century, you know, coming up. I mean, we just call it a paper. But
we just call it paper.
But now Australia seems to be, you know, falling in behind the US ahead of an impending World War III, probably against Xi Jinping's China. Perhaps we need to reconsider whether we go back to Oceania. I mean, like, you know, Anthony Albanese has countered China's influence by putting a rugby league team in PNG.
Yeah.
Perhaps the Socceroos need to do the same by heading back to Oceania just to shore up Pacific security matters. You know, grist for the mill.
For most of the time, you know, our corner of the world here, it's annoying because anytime you want to go somewhere that's cool, you have to go a long way.
Yeah.
But when there's a war on and that, it's like, wish we were further away.
I've got nothing more about
See you next week on the circus.